So this is one of Nintendo's trademarks, what am I saying, mascots?
Yes.
I guess one of the ones that get lost in the shuffle a lot of the time with first-gen games. We don't usually think of that pink ball as a mascot, but he's one of Nintendo's trademarks.
Okay.
And this is the game we're playing is Kirby Dream Land 3 for the SNES. Came out in 1998, I believe, in November. And I think this was one of the few games that I bought on the SNES where I think I picked it up in the first 2 or 3 weeks that it came out.
Was it expensive? Probably.
Actually, no, because this was at the end of the SNES life. This
97. I didn't even know that they did a game in 97.
That's it. So I think I paid maybe $40.
Okay.
At the time, brand new.
Wow. It's like a DS
around
game.
Launch week, yeah.
Okay.
So I was always a big fan of the Kirby franchise, just because I like the idea of absorbing powers, and you kind of have control over which power you want and which one you don't want.
Yeah.
And also, what this game does differently is that you have those animal friends that were present in the Kirby Dream Land games for the Game Boy, and now combined with your fire or your water abilities, whatever, they would do special abilities. And then the big catch in this game is that it's multiplayer, as well as you have all those access to all the powers. So it kind of gives you that cool co-op feel, because this is one of the first Kirby games, not counting Kirby Superstar, that actually allowed for co-op play on the same console. So that was cool. And the reason I say one of the mascots that gets lost, it's because Kirby games don't usually come out at the same time as the other games, as the other bigger franchises like the Zeldas, the Marios. He really kind of gets pushed back with the Star Foxes and I guess the Punch Outs in this case now.
Donkey Kong maybe?
Yeah, the Donkey Kongs get pushed back to the end of the list. But in my opinion, I think Kirby is still a very strong platformer. Since Mario doesn't do the same things as Kirby, Kirby really does rely on his own ability to defeat enemies in specific ways, whereas Mario always had one or two patterns you could use on all of them. So after we played it, how do you feel about this thing here?
I find this game reminds me of for the engine, it reminds me of Yoshi Island. I think it might. I don't know if it's the same, but it looks the same thing.
Yeah, the art style.
Yeah, and because it was, I guess, at the end run of the Super Nintendo, the graphics is very similar to the DS right now, because you have more animations, and just because it's Kirby, you get like different power-ups that you never get in the other games. And what I like about Kirby is that he can fly and eat people. And that's how he gets the power-ups. It's a unique way that it's such original. And I never played that Kirby before. The only one I think was Kirby Superstar on the Super Nintendo. Like, my friend had that game. Not really a friend, but I went to his house a few times. And I always wanted to play that game just because I never seen it before. And when I went to the video store, they only had like the mini putt game, something like that, the golf game.
Oh, Kirby Dream Course?
Yeah, and I rented that and I got pooned. I mean, it's okay, but it's definitely not the game that you're looking for.
Oh no, that's it. Yeah, I'm sure you could play Dream Course now and you'd still enjoy it a lot, rather than before where you didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, because you play a little bit when you're a kid, and it reminds me of the game on the Sega Ultimate Collection, the Sonic game.
Sonic Pinball?
Yeah, something like that. Okay. Well, it's similar at least.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I think Kirby is one of the few Nintendo mascots that gets his own spin-off games, regardless of whether or not he wants spin-offs. I mean, Kirby has been, like you were saying, in a golf game. He's been in a pinball game, maybe more than once. He has been in an Arkanoid game, a brick breaker type game.
Wow.
Called Kirby's
Brick Ball.
Maybe that's what it's called. We'd have to get the title later. But
okay.
He's been in a racing game with Kirby Air Ride. He's been in Smash Brothers. So, I mean, Kirby has been getting around. It's almost as if they don't know what to do with him. And every now and again, they give him a platformer and they realize that he can be in that kind of game. Oh, it's called Kirby's Block Ball. And if you head back, there's Kirby Avalanche, which is a Tetris type game, a puzzle game.
Wow.
Yeah. I also saw that there's Tilt and Tumble, which is almost like the Block Breaker game, but instead you're moving your Game Boy around with the motion sensor.
Okay.
And you're moving your Kirby ball around the screen. And there's a whole bunch of Kirby games that aren't platformers. So I can understand that you went into the video store, you picked out a Kirby game, and it wasn't a Kirby game, because this is one of the 2 games on the SNES where Kirby is in a platforming. Everything else was a non-platforming game.
It's funny because he didn't have any main game in the GameCube Live.
Yeah, I guess the Air Ride was the only one that he had. He didn't have a platformer.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, the last platformer he had was the one for the N64, which was, I guess Kirby 64, and that's almost like a very good sequel to this, just because it's the big, I guess the catch in this one is that you could combine powers now.
Okay.
So if you took your fire and you combined it with a boomerang, you would get a special boomerang that would shoot fire, and it would be able to unlock specific areas and levels. So that every Kirby platformer has something unique about it, but they don't want to make a lot of these for some reason. I just hope there was one on the Wii to come soon that isn't an Air Ride, just because I didn't like the Air Ride series.
But apparently there's one this year, but we don't know what it is, I think.
Oh, really?
On the Wii. So we'll see. So wait and see. Yeah, but it's a good game. I mean,
he's one of my favorite mascots from Nintendo.
Really?
Yeah.
He's
so versatile.
Yeah, but he always got lost. That's why. Is it in Kirby Superstar that he can transform to Link or something like that? I think he did, eh?
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's Link, but he wears a hat and he has a sword.
Yeah.
When he eats the sword enemy. Yeah, that's in Superstar.
Okay.
You can do that.
But it was fun, this game, for the 2 co-op mode. But I think your friends, do you know the name of when you're playing 2 players?
Gooey.
Gooey?
Yeah.
Does he have different moves? Because I think we couldn't have the same animal twice or something like that.
Well, yeah, in Kirby 3, when you go onto an animal, you can only have one animal between the 2.
At a time, okay.
Yeah, that's
okay, but the rest is the same.
Yeah, and the story is basically there's this big goo thing that comes over the world and is trying to eat Dreamland, and Gooey is one of the good goos, and he's trying to help Kirby.
Okay.
And I think I was explaining to you before too, like in every level there's a star heart. I don't know what they call it, probably a star heart. And if you collect each star heart in all of the levels across all of the 4 or 5 worlds, you unlock another world. And in that final world, instead of playing a platformer, you're actually playing a side-scrolling 2D shooter.
Wow.
So it just goes to show you, like, if you
like
try,
you get the best ending.
Yeah, that's it. The best ending available.
Okay.
And I think this was maybe the first game that I actually got 100% on. Just because, like...
It's funny because I tried in Yoshi Island to get, like, I don't know if you remember, like, one world you have, like, 8 levels. And you need to get, like, 100%. And there was always 1 or 2 levels that I was, like, 96. And I never knew what it was. Because you got bonus stages, but I never got them.
And there was the red coins in that too.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think my friend was able to get 100% in that game.
Wow.
That was one of the first, I think, that he did.
And you told me that when you're in a level, you have to do some specific things to get special items.
Oh, well, yeah, that's it. So the heart stars are unlocked with doing something very specific in each level.
Okay.
And sometimes it's puzzles because you don't know what to do. Other times they're very obvious.
Sometimes there's mini games like we played one in the...
Yeah, the guessing game.
Yes, that was... it's okay.
Yeah, and in the first level there's flowers. And the objective, they don't tell you this, but you're not supposed to step on any flowers.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But I had obviously stepped on one by accident because I forgot what I was supposed to do. But, I mean, it's just little things like that. And in every level, you have things. There's even, in the later levels, they'll basically have all the star blocks set up in a big square. And in the room right before you, there's a shape. So what you have to do is you have to recreate the shape by destroying the correct blocks and making the proper image. So that's the little cool things. So, I mean, this game is out on the Virtual Console now. It came out just this year, so it's kind of recent, I guess, for Virtual Console. And I look forward to seeing another Kirby. You're saying there's one this year, but I'm saying there may not be.
No, but it's Nintendo, that's why.
Yeah, they could make him do anything at this point.
Yeah,
It could be Kirby's cooking game.
That's why.
Because he does do a cooking game.